POK is foreign territory for Pakistan used for terror. Asserting that Jammu and Kashmir, the crown jewel of India, is incomplete without Pakistan occupied Kashmir, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh Tuesday warned Pakistan against allowing the region to be used for terror activity. Rajasthan, who was speaking in Jammu's Akhnur at a festival to mark Armed Forces Veterans Day, while Jammu and Kashmir is the crown jewel of India and is incomplete without Pakistan occupied Kashmir. POK is nothing more than a foreign territory for Pakistan. His comments are in line with Parliament's resolution. Incinerating carbide cost 337 tons, a 250 kilometers journey. The waste will be destroyed at a facility in Pithampur, MP. Next challenge, outreach to calm public anxiety over waste. It was a mammoth task that took 40 years to get started, 4 years of repacking, weighing, and loading 337 metric tons of hazardous waste, 40 workers deployed in 30-minute shifts, 12 long haul containers, and a 250-kilometer journey through a green corridor. Between December 29 and the night of journey, Jan 1, this is what went on at the infamous Union Carbide India facility UCIL plant in Bhopal, as the waste collected from surface of plant's decrepit premises and stored since 2005 was repacked and transported to Pithampur near Indore. Next challenge, outreach to calm public anxiety over waste. Tarapura in Madhya Pradesh Pithampur is ground zero where 12 long-haul containers packed with hazardous waste are parked in private treatment, storage and disposal facility waiting to be incinerated. There are policemen stationed across the village. Bhagwat quotes Pranab, if no Ghar Wapsi, Adivasis would turn anti-national. RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat claimed that President Pranab Mukherjee had appreciated the Ghar Wapsi program and told him that had it not been for the Sangh's work on reconversion, a section of Adivasis would have turned anti-national. Galwan to Siachen to Doklam, new locations in battle tourism map. In recent public memory, Galwan, the river valley in Ladakh, is known as the site of violent border clashes between India and China in June 2020, wherein 20 soldiers lost their lives, and in 2017 there was Doklam standoff between the two Asian neighbors. Doklam is a tri-junction between India, Bhutan, and China. These two and 75 other forward sites alongside the country's border, which have witnessed some military action in the past, including several other spots along the line of actual control. Delhi police links bomb hoax to pro-Afzal NGO and party AAP and says dirty politics, claiming larger conspiracy behind a 16-year-old schoolboy's hoax emails threatening schools with bomb blast. Earlier this month, Delhi police on Tuesday said the role of NGO linked to a political party has emerged during its investigation. POK is foreign territory for Pakistan. Speaking on Tuesday, Rajnath said over 80% of infiltrating militants once come from Pakistan. The soil of POK is being used for running the business of terrorism. I want to say this openly that terror camps are being run there today as well, and there are launch pads in border areas. भारत सरकार को अब इस सब की जानकारी है. पाकिस्तान सरकार को इस सब को खत्म करना चाहिए, नहीं तो ... The government of India has all the information the Pakistan government must disseminate or else ... He also slammed POK's illegal uh, Prime Minister Chaudhry Anwarul Haque's remark on India and said that the people of POK are being deprived of a decent and dignified living. He also criticized Pakistan dispensation for inciting and provoking the people of POK against India, pointing out that Pakistan has lost all the wars it fought against India since 1947. He said the country made an unholy attempt under the name of Operation Grand Slam in Akhnur sector in 1965, lauding the Indian forces for safeguarding the country's frontiers. He said they not only foiled Pakistan's attempt in Akhnur but by opening another front managed to reach up Lahore as well, pointing out that The neighboring country has been promoting infiltration and terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir since 1965, thinking that most of the population there is Muslim. He said, "Our Muslims brethren have sacrificed their lives fighting terrorism." He said the problems of terrorism would have ended in 1965 itself had then had the then central government been able to convert many strategic advances of its troops on the ground into strategic advantages on the negotiation table. This is not an accusation, he said, adding that whatsoever happened, there must be some thought behind it, and I do not want to discuss it here. Amid farmer stir, Agricultural Ministry boosts coordination with states and UTs. As farmers' protest persist to several demands, the Union Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare has taken one more step to enhance coordination between center and states. Senior officials stationed at Krishi Bhavan have been designated as nodal officers for specific states and union territories to monitor various issues, including overseeing the effective implementation of central agricultural schemes. An order to this effect was issued with approval of competent authority. On December 31, 2024, the Agricultural Ministry has already sent written communication to all the states and UTs in this regard. This initiative comes months after Chauhan began direct consultations with state agricultural ministers and farmers after assuming office in June last year. According to sources, around 18 senior officials, including advisors, commissioners, joint secretaries, and additional secretaries, have been assigned responsibilities of one or two states each. They will monitor agricultural issues and ensure smooth execution of schemes in respective regions. Why first Amrit Snan was on Makar Sankranti and why it is considered auspicious. January 14 was the first Amrit Snan or Shahi Snan at the Mahakumbh underway in Prayagraj. While the Kumbh Mela started on Monday, Tuesday marked the beginning of first and auspicious ritual baths in which sadhu akhadas or groups take the first dip after an elaborate procession to the river. Sri Panchayati Akhada Mahanirvani and Sri Shambhu Panchayati Atal Akhada were the first two ones to take the Amrit Snan. The Kumbh Mela is held every 12 years, Haridwar, Nashik, Trimbakeshwar, and Ujjain on the banks of Sangam, Ganga, Godavari, and Shipra rivers. It is believed that bathing in these rivers during the Kumbh washes away one's sins. However, some dates during the Kumbh period are considered specially auspicious depending on alignment of planet, sun, and moon. The Kumbh Mela is attended by hundreds of sadhus as part of their akhadas since this is a religious occasion. The sadhus are a royalty here and thus they take the first step. This ritual has traditionally been called the Shahi Snan or royal bath. This is being seen as more in keeping with Hindu religious beliefs, as it is believed that Kumbh is held at four places where Amrit or nectar of immortality is spilled after Samudra Manthan or churning of the ocean. And what is the significance of the day of Makar Sankranti? January 14 is Makar Sankranti, the day that the sun moves into the Makar Rashi or zodiac Capricorn. When the sun moves from one Rashi to another, it is called Sankranti, but Makar Sankranti is special. This is because this marks the movement of the sun from south to the north, signaling the worst of winter is over and warmer, sunnier days lies ahead. With Makar Sankranti, sun is moving to north, Uttar, and thus Uttarayan period has begun. According to Hindu mythology, the period of good day, this period is the god's daytime, and thus it is a reason to celebrate. After 6 months, the sun will be in Dakshinayan southward phase, which will be the god's night. Also, the sun has now moved out of Dhanu Rashi, making it making the end of Kharmas or the 30-day period in which auspicious activities are not undertaken. Upadhyay said another reason Makar Sankranti is special is that the lord of the Makar Rashi is Shani, sun's son. A lot of Hindus' beliefs and rituals center the family and loved ones. Since the sun is moving into the houses of his son, it is reason to celebrate. One indication of how Makar Sankranti is that Mahabharata Bhishma Pitama, who would choose the time of his death, chose Uttarayan period. Makar Sankranti is also a harvest festival similar to many celebrated in other parts of the country around this time, such as Pongal. Taking a bath in river on Makar Sankranti is believed to accrue spiritual merit or punya. If it collides with the Kumbh, the benefits are believed to multiply manifold. After Makar Sankranti, the next important date for Kumbh bath is Mani Amavasya on January 29, Shivratri, which will be on February 26. The last day of Kumbh Mela is also significant. New Congress headquarters, the policy on old premises. Why India is warming slower? In 2024, average temperature over India was 1.2 degrees Celsius higher than the average of 1901 to 1910. This is lower than 1.6 degrees Celsius over global land surface from pre-industrial times. World Meteorological Organization last week declared 2024 as the warmest year on record. The annual average annual mean temperature of Earth's surface during the year was more than 1.5 degrees Celsius higher than pre-industrial levels, average of the 1850 to 1900 period. 2024 was the warmest for India as well, IMD announced earlier this month. However, the extent of warming over India is very different from the world as a whole. The IMD said 2024 was zero point 0.6 degrees Celsius higher than normal. The normal in this case is an average for the 1991 to 2020 period. The two pieces of data that represent the warming over India and the world as a whole in 2024 cannot be directly compared. That is because of the difference in baselines. IMD does not have temperature data over India for an 1850 to 1900 period to facilitate a straight comparison. Its dataset begins from 1901. The 1.2 degrees Celsius warming over India is considerably less than the 1.6 degrees Celsius or higher that has been experienced over the global land surface. This is not surprising, but it does not mean that the threat of climate change is less over India compared to other areas. Empowering the IMD, the average temperature rise over the Indian region does not capture the different levels of warming being experienced in the different parts of the country. The nature and impact of temperature rise in Himalayas, for example, is very different from the coastal regions. India's vulnerability to climate change is very high, not the least because of its large population. Global climate models do not reflect changes over the Indian region. The same is true for global assessments of the impact of climate change. As a result, India needs to strengthen its capabilities in climate observation and impact assessment. The first India-specific climate change impact assessment in 2020 filled a big gap in the understanding of threats from climate change, but this has to be an ongoing exercise like the IPCC's global assessment every few years. Expanding the weather observation network, strengthening computing and analysis capabilities is a prerequisite. The launch of Mission Mausam has been done with this purpose. The observation network of IMD and consequently its capabilities has increased considerably in the recent year. However, there are still regions where network is sparse. The vision for a Viksit Bharat in 2047 has to include a weather monitoring station in at least every village of the country. The IMD is going to play an incredibly visible and crucial role in the social and economic life of people of India. This has been evident in the last few years, not very long a time ago. IMD's role was limited to providing few sets of rainfall or temperature information, which had little real-time practical values utility. But these days, precise weather information is critical to whole range of sectors such as disaster management, electricity generation, transportation, tourism, and even management. IMD's capabilities need to strengthen further to make it much more effective and useful. Similar is the case with other weather and climate related agencies such as Indian Institute of Tropical Management Pune or the Indian National Center for Ocean Information Systems in Kois in Hyderabad. Currently, the observation network over the ocean surrounding the Indian landmass is extremely inadequate and needs to be corrected urgently. Issues in India-Bangladesh row over fencing of international border. India and Bangladesh summoned each other's envoys following a disagreement over the construction of fences by the BSF along the border between two countries. On Sunday, the Bangladesh Foreign Ministry summoned India's High Commission to Dhaka, Pranay Verma, to express deep concern over recent activities on the BSF, especially the unauthorized attempt to construct barbed wire fencing that it said violated an agreement between the countries. The following day, New Delhi called the Bangladesh Acting High Commissioner to convey that India has observed all protocols and agreements between the two governments and between border security force and border guard Bangladesh. India has 4,000 kilometers border with Bangladesh, the longest among its neighbors. India intends the fence to prevent illegal migration and cross-border crime. On January 6, border guards Bangladesh tried to obstruct the construction of a barbed wire single-row fence by the Central Roadworks Department in Kaliachak, number 3 block in Malda district. DIG N.K. Pandey said, "Our counterpart has raised some objection. We replied to them. Work on the fence was stopped temporarily but resumed the following day." On January 10, border guard Bangladesh objected to villagers who were facilitated by the BSF erecting an impoverished 4-foot barbed wire fence around portions of the Bangladeshi enclave of Dahagram Angarpota in Mekhliganj, Kuch Bihar. Border in Bengal. According to 1975 Joint India-Bangladesh Guidelines for Border Authorities, no defense structure can be constructed within 150 yards of the zero line or the international boundary by either side. India doesn't consider wire fencing to be defense structures, but Bangladesh and Pakistan do. S.K. Sood, a retired additional DG of BSF who served for 38 years with the force, including the frontier commander in northwest Bengal, said several villages along the 2,200-kilometer west border in West Bengal lie within the fencing line. At present, at places, villages and houses stand on the international border. At several places, the fence cannot be constructed at 150 yards or beyond from the international border because the border is marked by villages or rivers, and Dahagram Angarpota is a Bangladeshi enclave inside India with fences on the zero line. Wherever villages and houses lie within the fencing line, gates are provided at specific places to facilitate the movement of residents. The timings for the opening and closing are determined after discussions with villagers and local administration. Where, due to reasons of terrain and population, fencing cannot be constructed under the 1975 border guidelines, we inform Bangladesh that we need to build fencing near the border. After the fencing is mutually agreed on, the BSF begins construction. Bangladesh has essentially two objections to SRF, Sood said, about the 1975 agreement on no fencing within 150 yards of the border. That erecting a fence is inconvenient to residents. Surjit Singh Guleria, retired Inspector General of BSF, said the purpose of SRF is to stop animal movement and check trans-border crimes and does not have any defense potential.